I see a lot of people on Twitter asking EA Star Wars about whether prequel content, the Clone Wars era, whether that will be DLC for Star Wars Battlefront. People asking about certain weapons, whether that will be DLC. Asking about planets being DLC and stuff like that. It does seem quite odd to talk about DLC for a game that isn't even out yet, but because Star Wars Battlefront is so bare bones at this moment in time, a lot of people are talking about DLC and what will be included within the first DLC packs for Star Wars Battlefront on the PS4, Xbox One and PC. In this video I'm going to talk about why I think that game should have free DLC to start off with, because at this moment in time, like I said before, it feels like this game is bare, especially compared to the previous entries in the franchise. At this moment in time, this game only has 4 planets. The game will have 12 maps. It will have Battle of Jakku. That will be its own planet with maps based on that. There's only going to be 4 maps for the Walker Assault mode. There's no space battles, obviously. There's no prequel content. We don't know how many heroes and villains will be in the game. We don't know whether The Force Awakens, whether heroes and villains from that film will be included within Star Wars Battlefront. We just don't know that sort of information at this moment in time. But from the information that we have got, like the game only having 4 planets and having multiple maps set on those 4 planets, it does seem quite bare compared to Star Wars Battlefront 2, for example. So if EA did come out and say, oh yeah, it's the first DLC pack, you know how we said there's no prequel content? Well, guess what? Prequel content's coming back, lads. It's coming back with the first DLC pack. Spend $5.99, you get Mace Windu, you get Ki-Adi-Mundi, and you get Obi-Wan Kenobi, and you get to play on Kamino, you get to play on Tatooine, you get to play on Geonosis. That would be awful if that happened. They shouldn't charge for that sort of content if they were to do prequel content. The DLC for that sort of stuff should be free, as well as more planets, as well as more maps for Walker Assault mode and more weapons, because they need to flesh out the game with DLC, obviously, because at this moment in time, like I said, the game, it doesn't really feel like there is a lot to it at this moment in time. So if EA did come out and start charging for that DLC, for stuff that was included in the first 2 games for free, it was included within the base game, you didn't have to pay extra for that sort of content. If EA started charging extra for that sort of content, that would be total bullshit, and that would just be completely wrong in my opinion. Now I'm sure some people will disagree with me. In my opinion, I think you're just DICE fanboys. You know, you don't really care about the franchise as much as I do. I've played the first 2 games for hours on end. That sort of content, prequel era content, should be on the disc, and you know, if it was to be DLC, it should be free, as well as more planets based on The Force Awakens. They shouldn't charge for planets which should be on the disc to start off with. They shouldn't charge for game modes that should be on the disc. They shouldn't charge for more Walker Assault maps, because at this moment in time, from what we know, there's only 4 Walker Assault maps, which is just absolutely ridiculous. It really is. If they start charging for Conquest as well, if that weren't included within the base game, and they saw that there was a demand for it, and they started charging for that sort of stuff, that would just be total bullshit in my opinion. And yeah, I think the first DLC packs should be free, because at this moment in time, it really does feel like the Star Wars Battlefront 2015 experience is really bare compared to the previous entries in the franchise. Like I said before, I would love to be able to play like prequel era content, so I would be really annoyed if they came out and said, oh yeah, here's prequel era content, but guess what, you're going to have to pay extra for it. That sort of stuff should be on the disc. If it was to be DLC, it should be for free, but you know EA, they're going to, you know, milk Star Wars as much as they can. They're going to break up the game, you know, so that they can charge as much as possible for it. It just seems like all what EA and DICE are focusing on is pretty graphics, the sound effects, and that sort of stuff. They'll probably bring out a Death Star map as well oh yeah, you're gonna have to pay $2.99 to play on that. You can't, that can't be free. That can't be on it can't be on, for free, even though it should be on the disc day one, because you're only focusing on that part of the franchise and you're not including one of the most iconic places from that part of the franchise. But guess what? We're going to charge for it anyway. That's probably what they're going to do. This is EA we're talking about. They love to milk their games. We know this already, and if you say otherwise, then you're just an EA fanboy. That sort of stuff should be free, and I don't care what you're talking about in the comments. It should be free. It should be on the disc. It should be on the disc day one, but it won't be. But if it is DLC, it should be for free. And if it isn't, then that will be total bullshit, because like I said, Star Wars Battlefront and Star Wars Battlefront 2 has so much more content compared to this year's Star Wars Battlefront game. It's a more fleshed out experience, but with this game it just feels like EA are just breaking up the game into either separate games. They'll probably do Star Wars Battlefront 2 and you get to play prequel era content in that, or they're saving all of the good stuff that people want, like Conquest, like more heroes or villains, like the Force Awakens content. They're probably saving that for DLC as well as prequel era content, and if they are doing that, if they are saving that for DLC, then it should be for free. It really should be, because that sort of content should be on the disc day one on launch day in November at no extra cost, because the other two games in the franchise had it, and this game should have it as well. It should have those sort of content that I've talked about before in this video at no extra cost. So yeah, that's just pretty much all I'll talk about for this video. Do you agree with what I've had to say, or maybe you totally disagree with what I've had to say within this video? Leave me your thoughts in the comments. So yeah, that's just pretty much all I'll talk about for this video, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.